let's talk about the infamous Proverbs 31 woman, okay? But we're not going to talk about the woman. We're going to talk about the man. So there is a man inside of Proverbs 31 that I never really have heard anybody teach on. That I've, like, my whole life, every time I go to this section in the Bible and I read about a Proverbs 31 woman, the man always sticks out to me. And in my mind, I always go, well, that's how she's able to be the Proverbs 31 woman, because of this man, okay? I promise you, if you get the wrong man in your life, you are going to live from a place of where you feel like you have to survive and not where you get to thrive. You're not going to get to live with the excellence inside of you. You're going to live in a place where you're trying to prove to somebody that you're valuable and you're worthy enough and you're good enough and that you're accepted and you're wanted and you're loved and that you have value. They'll constantly be making you feel like that you don't. And so when somebody's telling you that you don't have value enough and they're in your ear, it gets in your brain. And when it gets in your brain, it gets in your heart. And when it gets in your heart, it gets in your behavior. Okay? So I'm going to read it to you. We're going to read Proverbs 31. So stick around and let me tell you about the Proverbs 31 man. Okay? We're going to identify his character. So we go to Proverbs 31 and we start down at verse 10. And it says, an excellent wife who can find, not a girlfriend, wife. So you got to start, girls, you got to start living from a mindset of not a girlfriend, but a wife, okay? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works willingly with her hands. She's like the ship of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maids. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night, and she puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hands to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Here's her husband. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. I'm going to pause here, and here's your first identifying mark about him. Do you know what it means for a man to be able to sit in the gate? So in Jewish tradition and Jewish custom, the man who sat at the gate was a man who had a good reputation. He's not the one who's at the club and drinking and partying and staying all night out with his friends and acting like an absolute wild man, okay? Nowhere in the Bible does it say he's like, boys will be boys or sowing wild seeds, okay? All that's sinful, all that's of the devil, all that's the enemy stealing a man's destiny. And when a man's destiny is stolen and he's stuck in a place where he's a party man and all he's doing is being the, I'm not going to say the word, the F-word boy, when that's his mindset and he's a player and that's all he thinks about being, he's not a man of God. Because God don't have men, his men ain't players. His men is not in the world acting like players. His men is in the world being noble. They're the ones who sit at the gate. The men who sit at the gate had a good reputation. The man who sat at the gate was the one who came and they gave counsel to people. They made laws and they set up rules, and they were the ones that people could trust to lead. They are leaders. And you don't get a seat at the gate unless you are a leader. So her husband's a leader. He's already signifying that he's a man of God. He's someone that the community can trust. His reputation is well known right here, okay? So all those verses prior to that, do you know how she gets to be those things? Because he is those things. And I'm going to start reading again because there's one more place in here that I think speaks volumes. I mean, you should put a megaphone and yell it, okay? So when you go on down just a little bit farther, I'm just going to read it so we don't skip over anything, okay? She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchant. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. And here's what he says to her. Many have done excellent, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruits of her hand and let her works praise her in the gates. So what do you got? You got her kids rising up and calling her blessed. So they're not being disrespectful to her. So obviously he's a good leader in his household, because his children also know how to respect their mother, how to respect him. And then what's he saying about her? He's praising her. He says, many women have done excellent, but you're outperforming them all, baby. You're like surpassing every single woman out here. He's not comparing her to this girl, that girl, to his ex, or to his mom, or talking down to her, cussing her out every time that the moon gets full. He's not telling her that she's just not lived a hard enough life. He's not trying to punish her for nothing. He's praising her, okay? So I'm going to say this loud and clear. Two things I think that this is telling us about the man that you're going to pick as a woman. Because if you want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, you have to find not just an Ephesians 5 man, because that's important, but he also needs to be his own self, the Proverbs 31 man that you find here. If his reputation has already come to a place where the people that he's hanging out with, okay, this was a hard thing I had to learn, that it is an absolute fact, and it plays itself out time and time again. If the person that you're in a relationship with has not surrounded themselves with anybody of good character or good quality, he cannot be any different. You cannot rise or fly higher than the people that you are hanging around with. And most of the time when people are picking those people to hang out with, it's because those are the people that's comfortable and familiar. And those are the people that's not challenging them to have to be better. Same thing for the girls. If you got a girl who's out here I'm going to say in the streets, like everybody else is, that's the word, right? In the streets. If she's in the streets and he's in the streets, they're a perfect match. She ain't in the streets and he's in the streets, you're unequally yoked, okay? If she's out in the streets and you're not in the streets, y'all don't save people. Jesus does. The only time that anybody gets saved is when they submit their heart and their life to Christ, and that's where salvation comes at. You can try to change yourself and you'll get so far, but without the inner working of Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit on your heart, you cannot go. You'll go back to the same thing, just like the proverb says, that like a dog returns to his vomit, so does a fool. A fool will do the same thing, and we fool ourselves when we think we're going to do anything outside of Jesus Christ. So the reason that you don't have a Proverbs 31 woman is because you're not a Proverbs 31 man. And the reason that you don't have a Proverbs 31 Ephesians 5 man is because you're not a Proverbs 31 woman. And they all play in together, because no matter how you want to look at it, the Bible absolutely backs up the way the laws work in the world. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. So if on the inside of you, all you believe about yourself is women are bad, men are bad, if that's what you're going to say, then you're going to attract those same types of people into your life. And if you attract somebody who's not that, your mouth will make them that. If you attract somebody who is of low value and you are trying to be high value, they will drag you down. My pastor told me one time when I was a kid, he said, it is far easier to get pulled into the pool than it is to pull someone out of the pool, because you got more leverage to jerk someone in than they do to pull you out. So while you're thinking, oh, I can save somebody, you cannot. Let people be who they are, and you be who you are, and trust that God will bring the person, the man or the woman into your life that he is intending to have in your life. But in the process of that, you have got to cultivate and work on who you are inside yourself. You've got to invite in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords into your heart. You've got to ask him to break up that ground, to take away all the false learning that you've learned, and to teach you of his ways and who he is. Absolutely, the Lord will give you anything that you ask him for, but you first have to believe him. The Bible says nothing is impossible to those who believe God. And Jesus said, when you ask, you have to believe that it is yours. And until the inside of your heart gets to the place where you feel and you sense and you know the worth and the value that you have in Jesus Christ, you're going to continue to act like the world. I love this word. You cannot tell me that this is not the stuff that absolutely will change your life. It absolutely will. Absolutely will. I get excited about it.